Hi everybody, welcome back to My Physical World as we continue our discussion about Israel. Remember last time we talked about the geophysical areas of Israel, such as the Lebanese mountains and Galilee and the Central Mountains and the plains and the Negev, things like that. Okay, if you haven't seen it, go back and watch that video. It's a short video, 20 minutes. Talk about the geophysical aspect of Israel. We're going to kind of continue on that theme. However, I have some interesting things, especially for my audience that's in the United States. Something that gives you something to compare it to compare Israel to. When we want to compare Israel to a state in the United States that is close to the land area, close to the proximity of a feature that is at sea level, such as the ocean, okay, the best state to compare Israel with would be New Jersey. And what I have done is I have taken and extracted the state of New Jersey out of my United States database, and I have moved it over to where Israel is and put it into the same projection as Israel. So you can kind of get a sense of size between the nation of Israel and the state of New Jersey. So I'm going to turn on New Jersey. And there you go. New Jersey's in blue. So if you look at them, they're pretty comparable in their relative shape and size. You know, New Jersey's a little smaller, but almost the same area. So what is contrasting between these two geographic locations when we're talking about Israel and how compact it is let's first talk about population. The population of Israel. Now, when I'm saying Israel, I mean Israel proper. I am not talking about the West Bank or Palestine or the Gaza Strip. We're going to talk about Israel proper. The population of Israel is almost 9 million people. Whereas the population of New Jersey, in almost the same amount of land area, is also almost 9 million people. So in terms of population, they're quite comparable. All right? However, what we need to do is we also need to add in the population of those regions in Palestine. And those regions in Palestine have a population of about 5 million people. So in this area of the Middle East, Israel and Palestine, we have 14 million people. Now, here's where some of the differences lie. Okay? Now, if we're talking about New Jersey, this blue, obviously a lot of it abuts against New York City metro area. So this is a massive population base. So we have a lot of the population of New Jersey up and down the coast here with Atlantic City and Ocean City and New York City, and well, not New York City, but Staten Island area and Newark, New Jersey. You're talking about a major metropolitan area, okay? Whereas when we talk about Israel, here's where we have a little difference. That purple area that I just drew, that is 75% of the population of Israel is located in this area, which includes Tel Aviv, Ashdod, and a little bit north of Tel Aviv. 75% of that 9 million people live in this area here. Also, 80% of the industrial base is in this purple area. Okay? Now, you would seem that, well, why don't they just spread out? Well, in New Jersey, they have spread out. Okay? It is spread out. It's pretty populated with Trenton and Newark and all that. It's pretty much, it's not exactly spread evenly throughout the state, but the state is fully populated. Okay, except we have some mountains up here that I'll show you here soon. But most of the state of New Jersey is populated. Not too many wide open areas. However, we can't do that in Israel. Okay? Because when we're talking about the geophysical aspects of Israel, we have a coastal plain here that can easily take population. We have some valleys here. We have a little valley here and some up here near the plain of Echo. However, this entire lower, it's a little bit more than a third of the country of Israel is the Negev. This is desolate desert area. Okay, so there's not a lot of population in this area, and it's not good for farming. It's pretty much desert. Okay, whereas in New Jersey, it's more spread out, more flat, temperate temperatures. Okay, so the population in Israel is also defined by the geophysical space that is in the country. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a map with Israel and New Jersey side by side. On the left, here's the topographic map of Israel that we've been looking at. And over here on the right is a topographic map of New Jersey. Now, the shape of New Jersey has changed since the blue line that I showed you before, because this is pretty much the real shape. It's not distorted out to match this map projection, but you get an idea of the general shape. Most of this green area is low-lying ground, and it's pretty populated. Okay? Now, we have a little bit of the so-called Appalachian type mountains that are in the extreme northwest corner of the state. In terms of local elevation relief between Israel and New Jersey over here on the east side is the Atlantic Ocean. So we start at zero and we travel across the state up to these mountains, and the highest elevation sits right about here, and that is High Point, New Jersey, with an elevation of 1,800 feet above sea level. Okay? So in this distance, we go from 0 to 1,800 feet. And if you remember from yesterday's discussion when we did some measuring and some profiling, from Jerusalem, which sits around 3,900 feet above sea level, to the Jordan River, or the Dead Sea, which sits 1,600 feet below sea level, you see there's a drastic change in such a short distance. Okay? So the geophysical makeup of Israel is quite challenging. Let's talk about another little aspect of Israel. You would think that transportation in such a small area would be relatively quick because of the short distances. Well, that's not really the case with the nation of Israel. we're going to zoom into the northern portions of Israel. I'm going to turn on some cities here so we can get some geography references. I'm going to zoom in again. All right, so we got the Lebanon Mountains, the Golan Heights, the Sea of Galilee, and we got the Galilean Hills sitting here. And now I'm going to turn on some major highways. Okay, so they're drawn. So these little lines right here are major highways. So traveling or transportation in Israel is also challenging. Since it's such a small country and there's a lot of people in it, obviously you're going to have congestion. You're going to have a lot of people moving on these roads all the time. If you were to travel from Nazareth right down here, okay, and you were to travel to the Hula Valley, which is a beautiful vacation spot for a lot of people, or on your way up to Mount Hermon, you would travel approximately 36 miles along probably this highway right here, okay, and I'm not clicking exactly on the highway, but to reach the Hula Valley, we're talking a distance about 36 miles, 54 kilometers, okay? That 36 miles takes an hour and a half to drive, all right? So it's not like Israel has the long stretched out highways as a lot of our states here do in the United States. You know, other countries have the same kind of traveling, like Switzerland and things like that, where they're windy and things like that. Israel does have some straight long highways, but those are all in the coastal plain of Israel. But the problem with the coastal plain is, you remember, 75% of the population is in this area. So you're traveling through some heavily urbanized areas. So obviously your travel times are still going to be cut, okay? A lot of the people that I talk about who go to Israel, when they get off the plane at Tel Aviv and they travel to Jerusalem, which is, again, not a very long distance, run some measurements here. You're talking 65 kilometers. It still takes about an hour and a half to travel that distance, okay? Just because population is so dense, transportation is a lot slower. So moving around Israel does take a lot of time to move around, not only just because of the population density, but the geophysical makeup of the land makes traveling a challenge as well. So like if I zoom in here to this area here, you can see sorry, you can see that just the topography itself is a challenge for driving, okay? And a lot of the times transportation networks in Israel don't just go right up and over a mountain. They follow mountain passes and go through valleys and things like that, like 90% of their roads do, okay? So there's no clear getting around just by getting on an interstate highway, okay? And we'll talk about a lot about the transportation of Israel as we start talking about the archaeological stuff that I've been doing with mapping of Israel. So anyway, I just want to give you another overview of the geophysical aspect of Israel. Hope you liked it. Please stay with us and be sure to subscribe to My Physical World. And also, My Physical World also has a Patreon page called My Physical World, and I invite you guys to join our team and help support this channel and my Facebook and the research that I'm doing to bring biblical maps and geophysical maps of the world, different tutorials of how to use geographic information systems, general physical geography education. I really would love to have you part of my team. So please consider going to my Patreon page and joining there as a member. And hopefully we'll see you next time. See you later.